Why is there so much bloatware on my phone? Hello there, my name is Gary Sims from Android Authority. Now, there aren't that many derogatory terms that you find in the Android ecosystem, but one of them for sure is bloatware. And the big question that really is important for all of us is, does bloatware drain the battery on our phones? Well, let me explain. So when you buy an Android smartphone, you can have 5 different types of pre-installed app on your phone. Now, the first type of pre-installed app is the ones that come with Android, for example, the clock and the calculator. Then the second type are the apps that come from Google. So maybe you'll have Google Play and Gmail and YouTube and so on. Now really here we're not into the realms of bloatware. If you just have the standard apps, clock, calculator, and then Google Play and YouTube and Gmail, we're not yet into the area of bloatware. If you buy a phone from a big OEM, they may have added some of their own apps to that phone. So for example, if you have a Samsung, you might have Samsung S Health, you might have S Voice, you might have Galaxy Apps, and so on. Then the fourth type of pre-installed app are the ones that come from their partners. So if your OEM assigned a partner with someone like Amazon or Microsoft, then you might suddenly find that you've got the Kindle reader on there, you've got Skype on there, maybe you've got Microsoft Word on there, and these now are kind of partner apps, third-party apps that have come pre-installed on your phone. Then the fifth type of pre-installed app are the ones that can come from your carrier. So if you're with one of the big US carriers, it's pretty normal for them to want to add extra apps on top. So that's 5 different types of apps that can be on your phone. Now generally, as I said, if it's just the clock and the calendar and Gmail and Google Play, then we're not yet into the area of bloatware. But the higher you got this list of 5 different types, the closer and closer we get to bloatware. Now, of course, what you consider bloatware and what I consider bloatware might be 2 different things. For actually, I quite like Skype installed on my phone. I actually quite like Kindle Reader installed on my phone. And if they didn't come with it, I would actually install those on there pretty quickly. But sometimes there are some other partner apps or carrier apps that come on that really I'm not so happy about. And then I might say to them, oh, these are bloatware, I don't like these. Of course, also the quality of those apps is very important. If there are apps that have been put on for added value, but in fact all they do are cause you pain and they crash and they freeze and they have unexpected behavior and they're nagging you and all that kind of stuff, then you would again consider those to be bloatware. Now what I have here is a Galaxy S7 branded by Verizon. So it's the Verizon version of the Galaxy S7 and it comes with all 5 types of pre-installed app. Because we've got the standard Android apps, we've got the Play Store and we've got Gmail and so on. Then we've got some Samsung apps on top because it is a Samsung S7. Then we've got some partner apps, for example, Amazon Music is on there, Amazon Kindle Reader is on there. And then on top of that, Verizon have added their own apps as well. So really I wanted to answer this question. All these apps that have been added on top, are they draining my battery? So what I did was I got all these apps, I opened them all up, made sure they were all working, made sure if there was any extra stuff to be installed or anything to be registered that should be registered, I got them all up and running and then basically left the phone for a while, then used it a bit more and sort of tried to repeat a kind of day or 2 days of usage of the phone to see whether the battery was drained by these additional apps. Now the good thing about the Galaxy S7 is it has some pretty detailed battery usage statistics. So if you go into the application manager, it will tell you about each individual app and how much battery life it has been using. So having been using the phone for over a day and letting it work and seeing what's going on in the background, I went into the application manager and went through all these different apps to see if any of them were using the battery. Now I count on the Verizon version of the Galaxy S7 about 18, maybe 20 extra apps that you would consider to be bloatware, additional apps that are above and beyond Google services and the standard apps. And I went through that list in the application manager to see which ones were using any of the battery life. Now the good news is that when I went through the list, all the apps, everything from my Verizon to the Kindle Reader to the Verizon Cloud app, all these things produced a 0% usage in the battery manager program. So they reported that they were not using any battery life. Now, what does that actually mean? Well, the Galaxy S7 has a 3000 milliamp hour battery. And if it's a percentage, therefore we can divide it by 100, which means that to be 1%, it means it's got to have used 30 milliamp hour. So we know that each of these apps were not using at least 30 milliamp hours. And in fact, that's what you would expect, because the Amazon Kindle Reader, for example, if you're not actually using it, then it isn't going to be reporting any battery usage. Actually, when I analysed those about 18, 20 apps, there's probably only 4 or 5 that really have background services that could be doing something to flatten your battery. So if you reduce those down again, there's really only 5 or 6 that could be draining the battery. And again, those 5 and 6 only reported a 0% battery usage, so less than 30 milliamp hours. Now, if you want to see a full analysis of all these different numbers, I've got them over on the AndroidAuthority.com website. There is a written article that goes along with this video. So what does that mean? That means that on the Verizon S7, the bloatware apps did not drain the battery. Now, let's just take one step back and answer the following question. Can bloatware flatten the battery? Yes. Does bloatware flatten your battery? Probably not, but of course there are exceptions. And why I say that is because of this, is that basically any software can be badly written. You can have a terrible piece of software, and there can also be very bad decisions that are made. So somewhere in a meeting, someone has decided that a particular app should be pre-installed on a particular phone, and that's a bad decision because it's a bad app. And then that phone will get a bad reputation because its battery will flatten quickly. So at any point, any app can actually flatten your battery. If you download one from the Play Store, it can be a big battery hog. So it's not necessarily bloatware that is the issue, it's bad apps that are the issue. And if bad apps get pre-installed on your phone, then you are in trouble. Now, the good news is that most bloatware apps can actually be disabled. They can't be uninstalled, but they can be disabled. And on the S7, for example, if you go to the app drawer, you find an app that you want to have disabled. If you long press on it and then drag it, there'll be an icon up at the top of the screen, either that says turn off or disable. And if you drag it there, that app will be disabled and it will no longer start up when you start your phone. So then, as a summary, any bad app can drain your phone. And if it's a bad app that's a battery hog and it comes pre-installed, then you are in trouble. However, most of the big OEMs will make sure their apps are of high quality. So can bloatware drain your battery? Yes, it can. Does bloatware drain your battery? Well, no. But of course there are exceptions. And about those exceptions, I'm sure you're going to write in the comments below and tell me all about some bad apps that you've had experience with. Please do that. Let's call out some of these manufacturers and see which apps are actually draining the battery. Let's see which OEMs are putting bad apps pre-installed on their phone. Well, my name's Gary Sims from Android Authority. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please do give it a thumbs up if you did. Don't forget to download the Android Authority app so you get access to all of our stuff directly on your mobile phone. And don't forget to visit AndroidAuthority.com because we are your source for all things Android.